This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Horror Fried Podcast. That's Michael Combs.
That's Mike Martin.
And that's Keith Clanton.
And we like hot guys and hot chicken. No pussy, except for the one in the room. Our very good friend Meggy's here.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Meggy.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, look, you've been here a couple days. You already picked up a Southern accent.
Oh, I know. I'm a Midwest girl dying to be a Southerner.
Well, we welcome you. You can be Southern as often as you want. Hello. How's your mom and them? Thanks for joining us, friends. We are reviewing the 9th movie in our Southern horror series. The 9th movie.
I know, it's crazy.
Nine.
It feels like
Number
the
9?
59th, doesn't it? Does it?
I
I feel like
mean-
it feels like we've done a lot of episodes.
I feel like we have done a lot of episodes, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like it feels like yesterday that we just started.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And it's actually been quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It's
has.
been a few months.
It has. And we record so far in advance, too. Like, you forget, like I've forgotten what we've recorded already. So, yeah, ninth movie in our horror Southern series. So, as you know, the full list of this season's movies are posted on Instagram at the Horror Fried Podcast. So, be sure to check those out. Watch them right along with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now comes to the spell. Let's talk about Slither. Michael, tell us about Slither.
Well, Slither is a movie that came out in 2006, and it is about a small town that is overtaken by alien slugs that turn the residents into mutated monsters. It was directed by James Gunn and stars Nathan Fillion as Bill Party, Elizabeth Banks as Starla Grant, and Michael Rooker as Grant.
Grant.
Yes, you heard that right. Grant.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I didn't prepare any notes for this. We're just gonna jump right in because I feel like you've got before shit hits the fan and after shit hits the fan. So let's just dive right into this little town in North Carolina. Is that where it takes place? North Carolina?
I thought it was South Carolina.
South Carolina?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's
We're in the
North
Carolinas.
Yeah,
Come
we're in the
on,
Carolinas.
raise up. Take your shirt off. Anyway,
Wilsey, South Carolina.
is it South? Okay, South Carolina. So the first thing I wrote in my notes was "Hello, Shelbyville," because it's like you've got all the hunting shit going on. I see a few Confederate flags that make me a little uncomfortable. You've got the Cooters. Is that the mascot
Yeah, the
of the
high
high
school
school?
Cooters.
The high school Cooters. And they've got this deer cheer that's about to take place. And I don't know about y'all, but I was, what the fuck is a deer cheer? But they're celebrating the beginning of hunting season. And I'm like, y'all, that is some shit that would happen in my hometown. Like,
I was going to say, how Southern can you get? Like, that deer cheer was, so stereotypical.
yeah, well, and they never really said what it was at first. Or maybe they did, and I wrote in my
It was
notes.
on a banner.
Yeah, I said, is this a hunting thing? And then I put in parentheses, okay, celebrating deer season. So, obviously, hunting is very important in this community. Like, that's what they, get off on. Elizabeth Banks is a teacher. And they almost make it look like, she's the teacher that all the boys want to fuck, essentially.
Oh, yeah. There's
Right?
the boy drawing a sketch of her butt naked
Yeah.
and her
Yeah.
nipples are out.
I would love to have that sketch. It was a good sketch.
For a teenage boy, yeah, it was. It was very detailed.
It was very detailed.
He's thought about that a lot.
Yes. So I really liked her in that movie. And I feel like this was before she kind of blew up after Pitch Perfect and the Hunger Games and all that stuff.
Yeah, this was around the same time she did Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, it's
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh.
It's
I've never
so
seen it
funny.
either.
It is so raunchy, but it is so good.
Yeah, it's a Kevin Smith movie. Of course,
Of course
it's
it
raunchy.
is. Yeah.
I've never seen it. Have you seen it, Michael?
I have not seen it, no.
Oh, well, maybe I should, get on it. But I just think the whole beginning of this movie is very reminiscent of where I grew up. You've got the mayor that, not great. He's not great. He's just not a great mayor.
Well, let's just say
that's
this.
to
He's
say the
worse
least.
than the mayor in Jaws, and that's saying something.
Yes, that's true. I feel like I feel like a lot of the movies we've watched and reviewed, like the politicians and the cops and all the movies we've watched are just basically useless.
Yeah.
I actually wrote that. My very first note, even though you said you didn't take notes, I took notes. My very first note was in the very opening scene, you see the two cops. One of them is Nathan Fillion's character. And they're just like falling asleep on the watch, being lazy and not doing shit. And it's like, why are cops in horror movies always portrayed this way?
While this asteroid like comes and lands right behind them, and they're just like, not a clue.
No, I'm
didn't
tired.
Feel it, hear
Want to
it.
go to bed.
I actually wrote that in my notes too, because I feel like every movie we've watched has painted the cops in the South in a not so great light.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Bill's okay, and I feel like, and I think her name's Hooper, the female cop later on. Like, I feel like she's trying to get some shit done, but the other cops are just like, they don't really know what to do. And Elizabeth Banks is pretty much running the show. I feel like her and Bill are running the show when shit breaks loose. But, you know, before we get there, I think we should talk about Grant a little bit. What do you guys think about Grant?
Two first names.
Yes.
Yeah. Horny.
Horny. Okay.
Very horny.
I mean, I kind of like, the first time you see him is when he's like pulling Elizabeth Banks away from being flirted with the other guy, right? So there's almost this like jealous vibe that you get from him, like
Possession.
right off the bat. Yeah, like
Possessive, yeah.
kind of.
Well, you know, the first time I saw this, he is possessive and he picks her up from school. Like, he gives her a ride home. I thought, is he like abusive? Like, you know, but he's not. He's not. He does love her, and we can talk about that more later too. But I got that vibe from him, and then he is definitely horny. He wants it real bad.
Yeah.
I think he's also successful, but we never really find out what he does for
We
a
don't
living.
ever find out.
Yeah.
And if they mention it, it's so quick and so like under the radar that you don't, because I never caught it.
I don't think that they ever talk about what he does for a living.
It almost sounds like he's been wealthy for a while though, because they make a point about, because, you know, Starla's obviously quite a bit younger than him.
Yeah.
And Grant, like, took her away in his Cadillac, is what Bill said, I think.
I mean, they called her a gold digger. So
Yeah.
And they live in a beautiful home. A beautiful home. And, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I know we talked about it a little bit after we watched it, because we actually all got to watch this together last night, which was really fun. Rookers, I mean, I get it.
I mean, I've never sat and just looked at him and been like, I mean, I would. But yeah, I mean, when he gets out of the bed in his little whitey tighties, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, he's so charismatic too. Like, I don't know. I'm the same way. Like, I remember the first time I ever remember seeing Rooker was on The Walking Dead. And I did not ever. No, I was like,
Sugar tits.
Sugar tits, yes. I didn't think he was, I was like, meh, he's kind of gross. But he was supposed to be. Like, that's, you know, he was playing, you know, Merle. Later, of course, I found out he was in all these other things, but that was my first introduction. But I think in Slither, he's handsome. Michael Rooker is a handsome man.
Yes.
I mean.
Yes, I have firsthand experience. I know Michael on a personal level, and there is not only physical, you know, attraction there, but like he does have a very charming, very charismatic personality that doesn't just come across on TV. That is really how the man is. So I have seen it at conventions, the women who line up. So it is definitely there.
Line up to get touched.
Is it like, does he kind of have that almost, you know, that funny kind of goofy like demeanor about him?
He's definitely goofy. He's definitely funny. Like, you know, he does so many conventions. Everybody keeps coming back to meet him because he's so friendly and, you know, carefree and down to earth. So,
you know what other movie I really liked that he was in was the Love and Monsters movie.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that movie was really good. Have y'all seen that, Love and Monsters?
Yeah, I did like that movie a lot.
I remember Mike and I went to a screening of Scream at the drive-in.
And
it played first. And we were just thinking, we'll just go watch this movie. And then, I mean, we're going for Scream. But it ended up being a really cute movie. And Rooker was really good in it. And the little girl that was with Rooker was really, I don't remember her character's name, but they were both really good in the movie. But moving right along. So Grant is horny.
Oh wait, Love and Monsters?
Yeah.
That's the movie you were talking about.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah,
he
it's
was
good.
so sweet. In
It's
that
good,
movie.
right?
Yes.
So back to Grant being horny. Starla's not putting out.
She's not in the mood.
She's not in the mood, y'all. It's been a long day. She's had to teach these, boys all day that are like undressing her with their eyes. Like she's not ready. But he goes to a bar.
Yes.
And reconnects with Brenda, which they've known each other in their past.
Yeah.
And they go on a little walk in the woods. And there for a minute, you think he's going to cheat on her because Brenda's all over him. And he's like, no, Starla, I can't. I've got Starla at home. And you're like, okay, he loves Starla. Like, he's committed to his wife.
Well, yeah, because he was like shitty drunk too. So for
He
him
was
to be
shitty
like,
drunk.
like conscious enough to be like, nope.
Nope, I know this is wrong. I know I'm just horny. I need to stop now.
I mean,
Yeah.
even after like we see that obviously him and this Brenda girl had a thing, their initials are carved into that tree.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
she
like,
did that.
she did do that.
She did that on her own.
So
Yeah.
well, but either way, like so there's
There's
Yeah.
obviously
yeah.
like
There's a connection.
feelings involved, at least on her part. So
Yeah. Well, that nasty comment she made when he was like, "Girl, you were like 10."
Yes.
And she was like, "I still game." We all were like, "Ew."
Yes. Like, what the hell did you know about sex at 10 years old, Brenda?
that's how they get down in those small towns.
Well, that is true. Well, did they ever explain why they went to, like, stroll around in the woods?
She wanted to prove to him that
So that's why they
Yes.
went. So she wanted to
on the
show
tree.
him the initials. Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember if that was the reason or if they just were in the woods and she was like, oh, let me show you something.
No, she wanted to show him, but I did write that in my notes that his initials are obviously GG, Grant, and hers are BM. So obviously your last name starts with an M, and he's giggling about that, like, ha
Little
ha,
turd.
you little turd, your initials are BM. That's actually something Rooker would laugh at in real life. Like, it totally is. So that made me smile. I was like, oh yeah, he would totally laugh at that.
Okay. Good to know. I'm going to, if I ever go to a con and meet him, I'm going to be like BM. He'll have no idea what
He'll
I'm
be
talking
like,
about.
what?
Yeah. He'll be like, okay, cool.
Can you sign my picture too, little turd?
Yeah.
He might. People ask for sugar tits all the time.
I'm sure they do. Sugar tit. Who did he call sugar tits? Was
Andrea,
it Andrea?
yes.
Yeah. I remember that. So this is where they come into contact with the little alien, and he starts fucking with it essentially, right? And that's why it, I don't know.
Comes out of the.
Yeah, it like shoots into him, right? It goes into his stomach. That's what happens.
Yes,
It
but
goes
why
into his
was he
stomach.
poking it in the first? I wrote this down too. Why do white people always got to be following trails and poking shit?
It's
That
because
was
we're
not necessary.
stupid.
He followed the nasty trail. You know, if he just didn't do that, there would have been no thing shooting in his chest.
there's no reason. Like, why do you need to go and look at that? Like, who cares? You're
Maybe
in
he
the
was trying
woods.
to keep his mind off of cheating on his wife.
Maybe that's true. Maybe he was trying to talk away that boner that y'all know he had, because he's a man. I'm just saying. So, anywho, the alien shoots him in the stomach, and he goes home. But the next day, him and Starla have a nice little love connection. I think she feels bad, right, that she didn't.
Yes, she turns
Afternoon
on
Delight.
Yes, Afternoon Delight. She turns on their song, and she's like, "I'm sorry, baby. Sorry
Yeah.
about last night."
And her terry cloth robe, that's real sexy.
But I don't necessarily think it's really Grant having sex with her.
Oh, you think it's the
the
aliens?
Parasite.
Yes, because he's looking at her like it's the very first time, and she says to her friend later, it was like he was finding new parts of my body and touching me like it was the first time. And I think it's because the alien was
Really the
enjoying
one
this
doing
first
it. The
physical.
host.
Yes, the host.
Oh.
And
I didn't think about that.
It just made me very uncomfortable, to be completely honest. I thought that they're like, and I'm sure it was just for the movie's sake, but I just felt like those scenes where like he was all up on her, whether it was the first one in the bed or that one, I was just like, you can tell that she does not want to be doing this. Like, she didn't even look at him when he was like kissing on her neck. She kept looking off, and I'm like, she just doesn't look interested.
I just don't think she loves him, but she's not in love with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes care of her.
Yeah.
And that's why she loves him.
She does what she has, her what her wife duties or whatever
Yes.
they like to call that shit.
Yeah,
So-
well, she apparently enjoyed it that second time.
Well,
because
yeah, she talked about it.
Talked about it in the
break
teacher's
room.
lounge. Yeah, so
You're a slut.
yeah, I did love that part. One thing I did write on here. So obviously, Grant goes to the grocery store and buys all this meat because he's got a hunger for meat. And so I mean, it's a lot of meat. And he's
14.
like, he says, I want 2 ribeyes. No, 4. 8. 14. Like, it keeps going up. And then
Are you having a party?
Yeah, something like that. And then when he gets home, it's his whole truck bed is full of meat. And you don't really see where it goes. We assume his little basement because later on he sets up, I guess, a little sanctuary in the basement, right? That kind of looks like a nest almost. And
Leaves.
leaves, and he locks the door. But one thing I thought was really funny is when they were getting ready to go to the deer cheer, I said, this motherfucker has his cell phone attached to his belt on his waist, and every country boy's favorite accessory is a goddamn cell phone on your waist. There are people in my hometown, probably I know some of my uncles do it. They still
do it.
wear their
Yeah.
phone on their hip. And I'm like, God damn it, it is not an accessory. Put that fucking thing in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Great. Yeah, I love your OtterBox. Like, who cares? Put it up. I don't know.
So, back to their quick little sex scene, Afternoon Delight. She does notice the little mark on Grant's
does.
chest, and she's like, "Baby, what is that?" And
He said it's a skeeter bite.
just a little bug bite. And that's my best Rooker. That's as good as it's gonna get. So there's a little mark there. So when she's getting ready for deer cheer that evening, and after he's bought all this meat, he's clearly starting to sweat, and there's like some physical appearance changes. He doesn't seem right because the little bug bite is now turned into something more, and these tentacles are coming out, and they're ready to start impregnating people. And he gets the urge to do that, and he wants to do it to Starla, but he loves Starla.
Yes.
And he stops, and he hesitates, and he changes his mind, and he's like, baby, I got to go back to work. She's like, no. Well, he goes off and meets up with
Brenda.
Because he doesn't want to do it to Starla.
And honey, Brenda is ready and willing because she opens that door with that baby on her hip and she's like brushing the hair out of her face. She is ready. And he's like, I think he says something about, are you here alone or something? She's like, it's just me and the baby. And that's when she starts like, fixing her hair. And I'm like, girl, that I can't think of anything more attractive than opening a door to a woman holding a baby. Like, yes, I want that. Like,
Come on, Gretchen Wilson.
I mean,
I felt kind of bad for her because
I
then
do
she's
too.
trying to like impress him, and she brings out a plate of just like little Ritz,
cheese and crackers.
Ritz crackers and cheese, and she's like, "Here."
And then obviously he impregnates her with his. I think I call him in my notes. I refer to him as the Italian sausage links.
Oh God!
That's kind of what they look like, but with like a needle at the end of them.
I think they're kind of like fangs.
Yes, and it's almost like they grab on, like a claw or something.
They almost look like fangs. It's two tentacles with fang-looking teeth at the end that stab you, and then put little babies in you.
I don't know. When I saw it, especially considering that's obviously how they impregnate whatever. I was just sitting, I was like, it's literally like Double Dick Dude, which I don't know if any of y'all know who that is, but that's a real thing.
I don't know who that is.
He's Double Dick Dude, and he literally has a penis that is like, he has 2.
What?
And that's, I mean, they both work, only one actually shoots.
Okay, wait.
Silence.
Wait a minute. What?
I'm not kidding.
Is he like in the porn industry?
I don't know.
Okay, well then how do you know?
No,
Have
they
you
talked
seen-
about it on the radio one time.
Oh, then it must be true.
No, I mean, of course I looked it up. I saw it.
Oh, you did see it.
Yes.
Is he in the United States?
I think so.
And he has 2 penises.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not trying to like. give
Every
him, like-
woman's fantasy.
Not
And gay man's,
mine.
I guess.
Not mine.
I'm just saying.
be double penetrated all the
That
time.
is true, though. Like, one is enough. Like, woo, get it away. So, yeah, I feel like the shit kind of hits the fan from there because he takes her and puts her in his barn and chains
his
her
barn.
up, I think, right?
It's not his barn, though, is it?
Whose barn is it? Do you know?
Those people. The girl in the bathtub, wasn't that?
Oh, is it her family's
Oh.
barn?
I think
It
it's
is
her
close to
family's
their
barn.
house, so maybe it is.
Yeah. That's what
Um,
I thought. I didn't think it was their barn. I thought it was.
Or maybe they
that
just
family's
live close.
barn. It could be.
I don't know. But yeah, he puts her in the barn and brings her meat, and she's eating this meat.
So
Possum.
when you change and you become one of these things, obviously you become very ravenous, like uncontrollably hungry.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. When I was watching this, I literally have in my notes something about. It's like, is this whole movie just like a metaphor for like Southerners being gluttonous? Like,
Oh,
It could be.
Because I mean, could you picture this movie being set anywhere else other than the South, like, and have it be?
It wouldn't work.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
a really good point.
Like, I feel like, because I mean, Southerners are all like, we're kind of known for being
Liking to eat.
Yeah, we like to eat, and I feel like
Well, not only that, but like liking nice things. Look how selfish the mayor is. Look at Starla.
yeah.
She's got cosmopolitan taste in this little asshole town. You know what I'm saying? Like, that does make a lot of sense. One of my favorite lines in the whole movie, it's not that it's funny or anything, I just think it's real, like, it kind of helps the story progress, is when the mayor is on stage at the deer cheer and he's making his little speech and he says, "Let the hunt begin." And that's like at the time where Grant is literally hunting Brenda and
He's on the prowl.
planting his seed, if you will.
Well, he's hunting down a lot of things: coyotes,
He is.
cows, dogs.
Cats,
Well, yeah.
Possum.
Yes, that's true. So, Starla goes home and goes into the basement, right?
which
And-
I have questions about, but go ahead.
Yeah, so she goes down in the basement. He's got all these animals in there there's dogs, cats, everything that you were just mentioning. What's your question about?
Well, it doesn't seem like it's been very long since he's been taken over.
Doing it.
So it's like, how and when did he have all this time to literally turn the basement into a morgue? And how was she not smelling it? Like, you're going to tell me that was not coming through the vents?
That's true.
But, like, that was like an entire basement full of dead animals.
It was full.
And it only seemed like a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was strange.
And
He was busy.
and he
Yeah,
had
distinct.
enough sense about him to like put up plastic to like.
He did, yeah.
I mean, yeah. When did he have the time
yeah,
to
where was
do-
she? I know she's got a job, but damn.
Yeah. Because, yeah, you're right.
That's a lot of
There's
work.
only a few days that go by in the beginning. But after she uncovers everything in the basement and he comes home and they have this altercation and he's going to, like, try to get her this time, cops show up and he runs away.
Oh, he doesn't just run away. He's got
Well, very dramatically knocks over the lamp and,
tentacle.
his tentacle, and they call him a squid. So from there
because
on,
he started to change even more.
Yes,
And
so-
he's trying to tell her it's a bee sting.
yeah, that bee sting turns you into
A squid.
flubber. But then it very clearly says 3 days later on the screen.
After that, yes.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, 3 days. Which I think is kind of random. Like, why not a week? Like 3 days?
So interesting enough, though. So kind of like piggybacking off the bee sting scene, that whole thing. When Elizabeth Banks calls the doctor and she's like talking to him, she figures out that he obviously did not actually go to the doctor. The voice is Rob Zombie.
Is it really?
Oh.
Yes.
crazy.
I read that and I was like, what? But apparently, yeah.
I
thought that
wonder
was really-
why. Like, is he friends with
Maybe
the
James
creator?
Gunn or
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? But that's cool. I love me some Rob Zombie. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody else that's daddy AF.
Yeah.
I think Rob Zombie is very attractive.
I think Sherry is,
Sherry's attractive,
especially in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, I mean she's beautiful. Michael, what do you think about Sherry?
I love Sherry Moon Zombie as a person. I think she's a god awful actress.
I'm sorry, that's the only reason I asked, because I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Because he talks about that a lot.
Horrible.
So 3 days later, they're on this manhunt, essentially, for Grant. And the mayor's convinced he has Lyme's disease. Why? I want to know, why did they think, why Lyme's disease?
They were probably just trying to make sense of it, and since it's a small town and he probably doesn't have any other ideas, and Lyme's disease, something he can grasp onto and be like, maybe it's this.
Well, because again, it's deer season, so everything goes back to the deer, and he says, you touch deer feces, you eat a sandwich, and you get Lyme's disease.
Which is not how you get Lyme's
And I was
disease.
like,
You get it from a tick.
who told you that? First of all, yeah, it's true.
Well, you know how it is in these small southern towns. They don't want to believe anything that is out of the ordinary. It's got to make sense, or it's
That's
not
what
true.
I'm saying. Yeah, he was trying to
So-
put some sense to it.
Yeah.
That's true. That mayor's a dumbass. That's all I have to say about that. He's a little bananas.
I mean, he provides some really funny moments.
He
in the
really
movie,
does.
though.
He does.
I mean, he's a terrible person, but some of the shit that he comes up with, I'm just like...
One of my favorite lines in the movie is when he's talking to Hooper after the shit is going down at the barn. And he says, I don't care if you're lesbo. You don't deserve this shit. I thought that was hilarious.
I just couldn't get over all the damn things where he was like, I need my Mr. Pibb.
Oh my God, yes. He has
It
a
was
meltdown
cracking
in the
me up.
car.
This movie in general, I feel like really, out of all the movies we've watched and talked about on this show, I feel like this one actually captures a true, southern town to a T.
I do too.
The houses, the places, the people,
the way they're dressed.
all of the even right down to some of the scenes in the police station show them drinking tab out of the vending machines. Everything is that's you go to Sam's to get some great value because we're Southerners and we drink Dr. Thunder instead of Dr. Pepper. There's just stuff like
Mountain
that.
Lightning instead
And all
of
of that
yeah.
stuff is very Southern, and I just think that this movie really captured all of that so well. It just makes me laugh bringing it all to a head with that, the mayor being like, all I wanted was my Mr. Pibb,
And has a meltdown.
yes,
And he blames the secretary. Such a white man thing to do.
Yes. It is kind of funny, though, because you're right. It's over the top. The behavior's a little over the top. But that's what happens in small towns. That's how... look.
I was literally about to say, hanging out with you three, looking at you especially.
Yeah.
It could be over the top.
Over the top. I don't know what you mean. But yeah, it's a very Southern movie.
It is.
Yeah. And I think back to movies like Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte that we've watched. I feel like that is also a very Southern movie, but that's a different time.
Yeah.
That was very... when did the movie take place? It's in the 60s, early 60s. That's very... what's the word I'm looking for? Very accurate of a 1960s, Southern...
A very proper Southern.
Yes, exactly.
Proper, that's a
yeah,
good word.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You're Southern...
Southern Belle.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Where this is more redneck.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
this
this
is
one's
more
a bit
just-
more of your Hicks.
Yeah.
When they're in that deer chair and they start clapping with the antlers.
Yes.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
And the line dancing.
I
I loved the line dancing.
I know that it's funny. Look, we've been talking about this for how long now, and none of us have really talked about Nathan Fillion at all.
I was just thinking
And
that.
I feel like he's a really big name, but he honestly doesn't have a lot in
I feel like in the movie, he is the cop that knows. He's trying to keep the shit together. He's chief, right? Isn't he not the chief?
Sheriff or something?
sheriff.
Yeah.
So he's trying to keep his shit together, but at the same time, Starla's really running the show. Like, she's getting shit done. And one of them make a comment about, I think it's the mayor.
the mayor.
He says, this bitch is
This
hardcore.
bitch is hardcore.
Yeah, this bitch is hardcore. Like, she's like, we're
she's-
getting this shit done. And when they
yeah.
go into the woods to follow him, she goes first.
Yeah, he follows her.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
she's the final girl.
that's right. She's a good final girl. Oh, so let's talk about that part really quick. Whenever they encounter him for the first time and everybody's surrounding him, and the one redneck is going to shoot him, and he slaps his tentacle. Well, that little like
The fang.
claw or
Spike
whatever it
or
is
whatever.
slices him right down the middle. And I've seen this movie before, but I always forget about that. And it's really well done. It's gnarly.
And so Grant slithers off in a hurry, and they follow him, and they make their way to the barn. A barn.
Dun dun dun.
And
What
they
do we
smell
find?
something god awful. They're
What do
"What's
we
that
find in the
stench?"
barn?
Oh, we find Brenda.
And what's happened
She-
to Brenda?
What happened? Was it Violet in Willy Wonka?
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
She had that gum.
She
'Cause
turned
she's
into a
fucking huge.
blueberry.
Yeah.
I'm blowing
Huge.
up like a balloon.
And ravenous. She wants some
Oh, I'm
coffee.
so hungry. What did she say? I've never been so fucking hungry in my life or something.
No, and at the,
That was
Would
pretty
you
damn
please
good.
pass me some of that possum?
right
Say that again, Michael.
Would you please pass me some of that possum?
Yes, and then that's when the mayor goes outside and throws up, I think,
Yep.
for the first time.
Yes.
And that's one of many. Like, I feel like this happens several times, but I love that scene.
It is a great scene.
And then
they're fucking eating me from the inside or
They're
something.
fucking tearing me apart.
And then she
yeah, so
splits
she
open.
essentially gives birth.
To all these slugs.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me
exploding,
of? Yes,
though.
by exploding. It reminds me, because she does get bigger. Like, you can see her getting bigger. It reminds me of, like, when you go to the carnival and play that game where you shoot the water
Oh,
into
into
the
the
clown
balloon?
and the balloon, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it pops. That's
Yeah.
what that reminded me of.
And
Yeah,
I
she ain't no blueberry. She's like a whole blueberry tree. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Yeah.
huge. She's huge. Violet Beauregard could never.
I also feel like that's obviously like when shit really starts to get real, because then these slugs are everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
And it gets crazy pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it is so disgusting.
It is pretty gross.
Like-
but they take over the whole town almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love, so they kind of split up, right? Or did they split up? Or I know some of the cops end
A lot
up
of them
getting
die.
Yeah, most
Yeah, a
of
lot
them die.
No.
But I do like how they go to the one family's house, and you've got the mom, the dad, the girl. What's her name? Shelby, and the two little girls, and the little girls are in bed reading Goosebumps books.
Yes.
I
good
like
job,
that.
James Gunn.
Actually, one of the Goosebumps books, because I thought about it. The one little girl that's closest to the camera, it is actually the girl who cried monster. Which I don't know if you remember that book, but it's about a little girl, and she thinks the librarian is a monster, and she's telling her parents, and they're like, no. And so they invite him over to dinner as like an apology, and they eat him, and they are actually monsters. And the little girl and her brother one day will be monsters too. But anyways, I thought that was an
That's awesome.
interesting choice.
See, I thought the other one was Go Eat Worms, which I thought was fitting as well.
It could have been. I couldn't see it as well. I just remember seeing the one
Right.
and then thought about it. But
Well, because to point out, because we haven't yet, the way the worms are now killing people or taking over them is by getting in their mouths
Yes.
and going inside their bodies. So how Starla and Bill and the mayor, how they all survive is they cover their mouths
Yeah.
and don't let them get inside.
yeah, exactly.
So basically, don't fucking scream.
Yeah, don't scream.
James Gunn apparently, so the whole scene with the twins or whatever, we don't, obviously they get taken over as well, but we don't really see that. We just see the one twin like kind of flopping around on the ground,
bed,
on the
yeah.
floor. But apparently like the studios did not like allow him to do that. They didn't
But
want,
they didn't want you to see
well,
the kids.
and he felt like the visual of those worms going into a child's mouth, like that seemed very like almost a little too sexual.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a little inappropriate, so he didn't want to show.
I mean, kudos
like,
for him though. I
any-
agree with that.
Any of that. I also think it's worth mentioning the Nightmare on Elm Street homage in the bathtub
Oh yeah.
Yes.
with Shelby and
I think that bathtub's probably most famous in that movie, if aside from Brenda, because I mean, even on most of the covers I've seen of the movie, it's her in the bathtub.
Yeah.
But that's almost a little sexual too, because instead of it being Freddy's hand, it's this little worm that really just looks like a big spermial.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going in her mouth, not in between her legs, but it's still it
that
looks like
the shot. It makes it look like it's going up her legs. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously that whole family gets taken over.
Except
Except for
Shelby.
Shelby.
Except for Shelby, yeah. And she, makes a leap of faith out the second floor window.
I thought that was interesting though, because I think she's supposed to be in high school.
Yes.
They show her nipples.
They do. They
Yeah,
do.
I was kind of surprised.
She's supposed to be 17 in the movie. She says that.
That was James Gunn's like woman at the time.
Oh, they were dating.
Yeah.
That girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
So she was
okay.
probably,
So she was probably
early
older, but
20s,
portraying.
Right.
But still, like
Right.
you
It's
said,
still a
normally it's kind of taboo to have like, you know. But yeah, because there was that, and then also, like I think it's interesting to see that like she's the only one that actually we see like actively trying to stop it from getting in her mouth, and we get that weird like. I guess when it starts to go in you, you see like what it sees, I
And
guess,
yeah.
or like it's
Yeah.
like
It's a vision.
yeah, which I thought was interesting because it's basically just like a flash of everything that's happened in the movie so far,
Yeah.
which I thought was weird because they
And-
never addressed that at all
I
through
think
the
it's
movie.
their
I thought
way
it
of
was
giving
an-
us. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I thought it was another planet, but
That's what I-
yeah.
Well, they're
Yeah.
showing the memories of this host,
Yes.
and
On
they
another
start
planet.
off by
Because you can see all the other, like, I don't know what you want to call
Species
them.
they take
the
over.
Species.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because before they start doing the flashbacks, we see it literally looks like a different planet.
yeah.
So
And this is
that
also where
was
we
kinda
find
cool.
out they have a hive mind, I guess is what you would call it. Grant is
Yes.
talking through all of them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's when you find out.
Yeah, because Elizabeth Banks shoots the one
Yeah.
Yes.
that's like acting like Grant towards her.
Well, and see, at first I thought, well, that doesn't make sense because Shelby's parents and sisters aren't acting like Grant, but they do.
Yeah.
But I obviously I'm gonna have to mention it. But there's one part where Shelby's, like trapped herself in the car. She's trying to keep them from getting her, and they're all trying to get her out of the car. And one of the little sisters is at the driver's side window, and she's like, "Hey, it's me," and it's creepy.
It is creepy.
It is creepy, but she's so country. I just love that part.
eyeballs bugging out.
Yeah. How does Shelby get away? Bill? Is it Bill that comes?
Yeah, and
He
she
just
just gets
tracks
out of the
them.
car.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
truck.
And then she goes with them. So
What did he says? You guys okay over there? And the dad's character says something. What does he say?
I don't remember.
He said he blames it on something stupid, like I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
blamed
because
it.
when he turns around, he looks at him and says,
Yeah,
it,
kind
can't-
of like how Grant was like, "Oh, it's just a little bug bite." He says something similar to that, and it's the dumbest thing, and I forget.
Oh. Well, now
Shoot,
I
we should have
wish-
wrote that down.
I know. So I guess from there it's really like
I do remember this is our family fun day.
oh yes. That's true. I like the whole climax of this movie. I think it's really good. At this point they've gotten Starla and they've taken her back to her home, put her in a like nice white nightgown. It looks like a nightgown. Cleaned her up.
Brushed her hair.
Brushed her hair. Grant is there, obviously. Okay, so here's where I start to think this movie is more body horror than it is creature feature. Because Grant is obviously there in the middle, but everybody's like...
Melted into him.
It's like shunting in society. Like they're all melting into him and forming one big, huge thing.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, so
Pizza the Hut.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, like, do you consider this more body horror or do you consider it more of a creature feature?
I think it's both.
That's a Michael question.
I think it's both, and it's sci-fi horror. Sci-fi horror, body horror,
Yeah.
creature feature.
But if you had to see, I almost feel like for me, if I had to classify it as one, I would classify it as body horror because of that last scene.
I think half of it's creature feature, and then the other half
Yeah, I
is
think the
body horror.
worms are creature feature,
And it
and
kinda
then
turns into body horror.
towards the end body horror is
Okay.
how I would. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
half and half.
Because you think like two of the biggest scenes in the movie is the barn scene with Brenda. That's very body horror to me.
Yeah.
And then at the end with Grant, that's all. I just kept thinking shunting, and
It totally was the shunting.
yeah, it was like a throwback to Society. And if you've never seen Society, you should definitely watch it. It is a fucked up movie. Have y'all seen Society?
I have not.
I haven't.
Oh, y'all got to watch
Love
it.
Society.
It's good. I think it's on Shudder. It was for a while.
It does kind of make me think of The Thing, though, when, like, it's kind of almost like they're coming together towards the end, not in the beginning, but at the end,
Yeah.
it's like multiple of human body parts.
That's true.
It is kind of reminds me.
It's
of
kind
that.
of
Well, and then seeing to me, it kind of reminded me of like the Blob, like
Yeah.
the whole premise
Yes.
where alien comes down, kind of like starts to take over the town or whatever, which I guess would be creature feature, right?
yeah. It's kind of like an invasion movie.
Yeah. It's funny that we
And
all
Night
had
of the
like
Creeps.
It's like we all had different.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, Night of the Creeps. Good one, Michael.
Because that's what happens
Yeah.
in Night of the Creeps. Slugs take over people and turn them into zombies.
Oh
Have any of you seen Dreamcatcher?
no.
No.
It's a Stephen King book turned into a movie.
Is Keanu Reeves?
Oh,
in that?
no. It's Jason Lee and Timothy Oliphant, my daddy AF.
Did they go to a cabin?
Yes.
Okay.
And, Thomas Jane as well.
Yes,
And
I've seen. Yes.
There's worms in that. And they get infected and they poop them out. And they look like the exact same. They look like the same worms, but they're brown, so they look like poop. But then they actually have faces and teeth and eyeballs.
Okay, so is Dreamcatcher? They're staying in a cabin. There's like a older man, like an obese man.
Yes, and
he
he's
needs
the-
to lay down for a while.
Yes, and then he gets up to go to the bathroom,
Yes,
and he
okay,
poops out
yes.
the very first
Yep.
parasite that ends up attacking Jason Lee.
Got it. But it's kind of like it's got some comedy in it too, because I
Oh,
feel
it's
like
so funny.
when all the stuff happened in the bathroom, like afterwards, I remember thinking, "Oh, okay, this is kind of a little more lighthearted than I was thinking." Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that is. It's a
Sorry,
good movie.
off
You should
topic,
watch it.
but I
Yeah.
wrote that down. The worms are very similar
That's what it reminded
between
you
the
of?
movies. Yeah.
So, what did y'all think of that climax?
And he decorated the house very well.
Oh, yes.
Maggie's lying.
Yeah, so Starla wakes up from her grooming session, apparently, and she walks out, and Grant, or the host that has taken over Grant, has decorated it all of their pictures, wedding
And
photos,
it's really
vacation.
sweet.
And she, to kind of like get him back on her side, she's like, to get him back on her good side, she's like, you did a real great job decorating, baby.
She did. And she's like, and
she's starting to cry, and he starts to cry.
Too. Yeah.
Oh, and that makeup, I also know this. That final makeup we see at the end,
Mm-hmm.
I think it took Rooker to be in that chair over 8 hours.
Really?
So then
Have
when they
all
had
that
to
done?
film, they had to like really make sure they captured what they needed to capture because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I saw something about Brenda's, like the actress that played Brenda, kind of said something similar to that scene in the barn, because it's like, I mean, obviously all that's showing is her head, like that's
Yeah.
it. So she's just in this big, like whatever it was, for however
Blueberry.
long that, yeah,
Blueberry
needed
Oompa
to
Loompa
take.
suit.
Schnozberry. I liked what I really liked about this. Obviously, there's some CGI shit, like the worms. A lot of times when you see that, we're like, "That's all CGI." But for the most part, I thought a lot of it was practical. Like a lot of the makeup, and even when Shelby takes the curling iron to the one worm, that's obviously like a prop. But I really liked it. I like that they did a good job of combining both of them. I thought, especially at the end, because there's at that big whatever you want to call it. That was just, I thought it was really well done.
Those dentures.
Yes,
teeth.
the teeth were crazy. I thought the teeth were really well done. But at the end of the movie, they obviously blow them up.
Yeah.
and he's got all these people attached to him, so they're essentially killing all these people. So this is where I'm like, wait, so is everybody just dead? Because when you see all of, like, the zombies, if you want to call them that, they're kind of walking around like zombies. They all fall. And we're all thinking, okay, well, you kill the host, then you get it all, and people kind of return to normal. But none of them ever get back up. And it's like the whole town is there in Starla's yard, and it's just Starla, Bill, and Shelby walking off into the sunrise. And I keep waiting for people to get up. And I almost wonder if that's why he shot that long shot for the credits. Like, people would think, okay, they're going to start getting up now.
For it, yeah.
And then they don't. And it's literally the whole town's dead.
So we have this long shot where no one gets up and we realize everyone's dead. But there is a post-credit scene where a cat goes up to Grant's dead body and gets infected. And it's going to start all over again.
I just can't believe I didn't know that.
But yeah, I remember it when I watched it the first time, but then we had stopped.
Yeah.
Stopped
and
halfway
we
through
never
the
got
credits.
a Slither 2.
We never, because this movie bombed.
Right.
Which is crazy to me.
But it's kind of circulated, kind of has that cult following.
It does now.
Especially now with James Gunn being so wildly popular with Guardians and all his other work.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I say Guardians of the Galaxy, excuse me.
Well, and also it's like, obviously we know that James Gunn's worked on Guardians and stuff, but he's also clearly very good and close with Rooker. And even like Kurt Russell, there's a lot of nods to like The Thing and all that stuff in this. Yeah. So
he clearly tends to work with people he's friends with, kind of like Rob Zombie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it kind of puts
Ryan Murphy.
Well, yeah, because Kurt Russell's even in Guardians
of the Galaxy.
So I mean, yeah.
And yeah. One other thing I wanted to bring up when she's talking about decorating the house, because I think you and I differ here, Keith. I think you think it's more Grant. I think it's more of the host this entire time, the alien, because when she calls him Grant and he kind of like gets excited about it, she says, "You like when I call you Grant, don't you? You like that." So I think at this point, Grant is pretty much gone, or I think she's talking to this alien because she's like, "You've been so lonely this whole time." And
that makes sense because I remember when she says that and she's like, "You like it when I call you that." I remember thinking, as opposed to what, baby? Because you just call him baby.
Because she's not talking to Grant, she's talking to the alien. Yeah. So, but right before she kills him, you do see her hesitate because she is killing her husband, and also I think she just feels bad. So I like that she is still human there, and we see that, and she's not just ruthless.
Yeah, so she's sensitive.
Mm-hmm. She has feelings.
That's right. Mike, didn't you have some trivia you wanted to talk about?
I do, and one of these makes me very excited because Meggy's here to talk about it.
Oh no!
And so upon just kind of researching this a little bit, just to kind of get a few little things. So the school that Starla teaches at is Earl Bassett School. That's the name of the school.
What?
And of course that is Earl from Tremors. That's his.
How did I miss this?
Yeah, like that was the school's name. I didn't notice it either, and I'm a big Tremors fan too. And I feel like we see it like 3 or 4 times. We see the school sign. God. We see I don't know.
Yes.
So,
R.I.P. Fred Ward.
Yes.
His character in Tremors is Earl Bassett, and literally Kevin Bacon calls that movie like the movie with underground worms, and he thought his career was over. And then look at him now. It's fucking Kevin Bacon. But yeah, so that's a cool trivia fact.
Yeah. And then just a couple other things. Apparently James Gunn, because he was not, I think Elizabeth Banks was like the second person cast for this movie, and he went into it wanting what he called the Hitchcock blonde, and that was
I do get like Tippi Hedren vibes from her.
He said that he found it in Elizabeth Banks. They had the sort of WB good looks, but Elizabeth really had that old time grace.
Aww.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then so obviously this movie pays homage to a lot of different, like, if you're like looking and just kind of paying real close attention to all the little things. But in the beginning, so on the street sign that shows like, the deer cheer and it says, the town's name and all that stuff. It says also you can see that Henenlotter Saddle Lodge presents Deer Cheer. That sign is apparently reference to the horror writer and director Frank Henenlotter.
Brain damage.
Who was Brain Damage.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I did notice
You
that
love
yesterday.
Brain Damage.
I love Brain Damage.
Yeah.
Love.
So there's just a lot of stuff in there that he
Yeah, he paid homage to.
which I
like
love
that.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And apparently when they did like the bonus features for the, I guess, like commentary and stuff, James Gunn didn't want to explain that. Like, he wanted people to just kind of pick it out.
Yeah.
But apparently he did end up doing it for the commentary just because I guess it was kind of like wanted.
I did
but-
notice it yesterday, but I was like, most people don't know who Frank Henenlotter is, so I just
Yeah.
thought it was a name they use. But
Yeah, no, that's what it was. And then something too, it was the mayor's name, which I can't remember it now. I had it down. It's apparently Kurt Russell's character's name in the thing. Like the last name is the same.
Oh, Macready?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah, I think that's cool.
So I was
I
right.
love,
The Thing vibes.
We
Yeah.
love an homage.
I do.
Here at
I love
Horror
picking
Fried.
stuff like that out of movies, though.
And James Gunn is good at that. There's even stuff like that in his Marvel films.
Well, and you know that this just got released on Shout Factory, I guess, a few years ago. So I'd be curious to see what special features are on.
I have that copy.
Do you?
Yes, I should have brought it. I'm
Well,
sorry.
the special features are usually really good on Shout's Factory releases. I mean, that's why I get them half
Yeah,
the
they do a
time.
great job.
So I'd be interested to see what's on there.
Can we turn a light on here?
Yeah, Alexa, turn the light on.
I was trying to make bubbly noises. What's wrong? Oh!
I hit it, but I thought it bounced back into place.
Can we put
'cause
that
I
in the
can't-
episode?
Oh my god.
Is it that time?
I think it's time.
Oh, it's that time.
Meggy, do you know what time it is?
Horror Fried Theater?
Yes!
Woohoo! I've been nervous about this.
So I am nervous about this one. I don't know how it's going to go. This movie has a lot of fucking characters, unlike
lot.
other movies we've done. And the scene that I picked has 8, 10 characters. So we're all playing multiple characters.
Oh my god.
Multiple characters.
Oh my
so
Lanta.
I would recommend after we get through the first page of script, put it off to your side so you remember who you're playing, because I don't even... It might be rough. I don't know. And unlike every other Horror Fried Theater, Keith, you're going to be the narrator this time.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, okay, but is it really...
sharing a script.
Oh, okay. Is it really unlike other ones, though? Is he actually playing a girl or a guy?
He's playing all guys this time.
Oh!
Oh my god. Oh yeah, this is gonna be real
Mike, you
good.
and I are sharing a script.
Okay.
I almost said scaring a script. Sharing a script.
How did I not get chosen to be Margaret? That's my name, legally.
I know. I should have. Do you want to? I'll
No,
be Trevor.
I'm good.
I think Margaret is Hooper.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah,
who
that's
the
her
fuck
name.
is Hooper? It's
That's
Margaret.
Margaret.
Oh my god. You did not.
I'm Starla? Oh, sorry.
Okay, so the scene that we're doing is where they're at the farmhouse. They find Grant. We're going to pick up there, and then they make their way to the barn. So we're going to do the barn scene as well.
Yes.
So Starla's going to be played by Meggy. Brenda's going to be played by Mike. The good old boy and the older cop are going to be played by Keith. I'm going to play Bill and Wally. Keith will be the narrator. Trevor will be played by Meggy. Redneck is played by Mike. And I will be playing Margaret.
Can I just say, who invited you, Trevor?
Yes.
So, whenever you're ready, Starla.
Okay.
Okay.
So wait,
Me,
let's see.
me,
I
me.
really need to like in my head like I am good old boy and older cop. Good old boy and older cop.
gonna-
You?
remember any of this.
I'm Redneck and Brenda.
Yeah, but that's easy to remember. Because Brenda's eventually going to disappear. So you're only going to have to look for one name. But yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm excited
I'm
about
a boy
this
and a
one.
girl, guys. Just
You're
like-
a boy and a girl?
I'm a boy and
Have
a
you
girl.
ever played a boy?
No! Grant turns and looks at her with his half-human eyes. His breathing is loud, raspy, and sick. He sees, in a wide circle around him, the nervous posse standing up, their guns at the ready. Starla moves even closer. Bill and Wally are coming in close behind her.
Grant, it's okay.
As Starla and the posse get closer, Grant looks almost scared. His eyes dart around from cop to cop.
You're just sick is all, but we'll take you to get help right now. I'll stay by your side, Grant, just like I swore I would. For better or worse, remember?
Grant's huge milky eyes betray that he does.
Okay?
The posse inch closer, tightening the circle. Grant lets out a piercing screech of protest. All of the posse stop, terrified. Everything is quiet and still except for Grant's gross breathing, deep in, out.
Okay, Grant? It's gonna be all right.
Grant screeches again, a warning. He looks from Starla to Bill with her jealous eyes and growls. Then Grant's eyes close to half-mast, and then he turns away. His tentacle tightens around the cow's horns, and he again drags it towards the forest. While Bill tries to decide what to do, the good old boy nervously blocks Grant's path. He aims his pistol at him. You stop right there, you son of a bitch. I don't care what kind of leprosy you got. We need to find that girl. Now you can make this peaceful, or you can make it hard. Grant and good old boy stare at each other. And then Grant snaps out a tentacle arm, whipping it up the front of the man's body and back. The front of the good old boy's whole body is split neatly in half. For a split second, he remains alive. The two different sides of his split head look down in disbelief as his organs spill out from inside him, and then he topples over.
Fire! Fire!
The posse shoot at Grant. Starla covers her head. Grant is struck. He screeches in pain. He lets go of the cow. He slithers with incredible speed off toward the forest. Bill and the other posse members take off after him. Like hounds on the hill of their prey, they shoot madly. Starla watches as the posse follows Grant into the woods. Starla stands alone and worried a moment, and then she darts off after them. Now we're in...
I think.
Her name is not Shelby, it's Kylie.
Did I write Shelby?
No, it's Kylie.
He was saying it was Shelby this whole time.
Mike told me it was Shelby!
Oh no.
Mike. Oh, that's
I
okay.
pulled the script off. The name might have got changed at one point.
It could have gotten changed.
on.
You know we're obviously going to look it up now.
Yeah, hold on.
Every time I've done a script before, I actually watch the movie and do it verbatim.
Oh, wow.
I never just pull the script, but I didn't have time.
Sorry guys, I saw that and I was like,
Things
oh fuck.
change. I almost think we can skip over that part.
Well, no, I'm talking about the fact that we called her that the whole time.
It is Kylie.
Oops.
Oh well.
We'll go back.
At the end, we'll just say, hey, we made a mistake.
Or we can just leave this
should
whole
know that.
conversation
I
in
don't
here.
Right.
I think it's funny. Okay, so we'll continue on. Sorry, y'all. Her name's not Shelby. It's Kylie. So now we're in Kylie's bathroom. Kylie's running a bath. She hears gunshots echo in the distance. She peers out a little window above the tub, trying to see where the shots are coming from. Back in the forest, the posse run through this very dark forest after Grant, leaping over brush and rocks. They're nervous, but also excited as the primordial hunting urge takes over. Their eyes are filled with anger and bloodlust. They're able to follow Grant only by catching glimpses, a flash of flesh between trees, a tentacle disappearing around brush.
There he is, over there.
They fire at the creature, taking chunks out of trees but missing. He's too fast. Grant slips around a boulder and splashes through a creek and into the plentiful trees beyond. He rustles thick fronds as he moves up alongside the creek. The posse run up the creek itself, splashing, trying to peer through the leaves to get a shot at Grant. Jack, carrying his revolver, trips and falls in the creek. He cuts his knee on a sharp rock. He stands and keeps going. They come to forest clearing. The posse come up out of the creek. They've completely lost track of the diseased man, Beast. They stop, out of breath, and looking around, they whisper,
Where'd he go?
We ain't never gonna find that girl now.
The redneck is weeping with rage.
I'll kill that asshole what he did to Charlie.
Bill sees Starla run up behind him. He waves her back.
Starla, get the hell out of there.
Starla takes a couple steps back, but doesn't leave. She watches there, half in shadows, as the posse creep around, searching for some trail of Grant. Margaret looks down into the bubbling creek. She sees it turning red. She looks up the trail of blood, which is rippling downhill in the water. The red flows start somewhere near a boulder. Bill and Wally are searching in front of the boulder. Margaret sees, but they don't. Grant pulling himself up on a tree branch and rising above them. Blood from a shotgun wound is dripping into the creek. Grant, pissed, lifts a tentacle.
Who's Margaret?
Oh, sorry. Bill! So confused.
Bill turns as the tentacle swings down toward him. He falls back. The tentacle slashes inches from his face. Bill blasts a shotgun up at Grant, but Grant is already slithering swiftly back into the thick brush. The posse squeeze themselves through the brush, following. The posse emerge on the other side of the brush, only to be confronted by a terrible odor. They cover their noses and mouths as their faces shrivel in disgust.
What the hell's that smell?
It's something dead.
The posse gaze up at the old ramshackle barn where Grant has brought Brenda.
It's fine.
It's coming from in there, ain't it?
Margaret looks at Bill.
Think he's inside?
Bill takes the lead, carefully approaching the barn. The posse follows, their weapons drawn. The closer they get to the barn, the more unbearable the smell becomes. Only Bill, intent on the task in front of him, doesn't react to the stench at all. Bill leans his ear in close to the front door and listens. Through the door, he can hear a quiet sobbing. Bill and Wally exchange a look. Bill steps back. He and Wally aim their shotguns at the door. Bill nods to Margaret and gestures for her to open it. Starla watches all this from the rear. Margaret swings open the door. Bill and Wally move cautiously but quickly inside, but they stop suddenly in disgust and horror.
Oh.
It's Brenda! She doesn't look good. Her weepy little head is stuck in front of a huge fleshy orb, which is what her body has become. This enormous ball of flesh is 9 or 10 feet tall. Vestigial fingers protrude from her side. She's utterly immobile. Her flesh sloshes slightly and constantly. 1,000 snakes seem to be slithering beneath her thin, tight, bruised skin. The woman is in great pain. She sobs. Her mouth and chin are stained with blood. The posse and Starla enter behind Bill and Wally and are equally astounded. Oh, shit! They see the source of the awful stench. Brenda is encircled by the rotting carcasses of cows and horses and forest critters. They are mostly skeletal, as they have been largely devoured. They're swarming with flies. The stench is so bad, the posse cover their faces with the bottom of their shirts. The sobbing Brenda looks desperately at Bill and Wally.
Something's wrong with me.
Yeah?
Bill and Wally get in a little closer.
Brenda,
I didn't want no one to be seeing me like this.
As the posse inch closer, Brenda's whole body suddenly lurches forward a bit, like whatever's inside her is trying to get out and to the posse. Brenda screams in agony. The posse jump back. They stare as she recomposes herself.
How are my boys, Bill? Are they all right?
boys are fine, Brenda. What's happening here exactly?
I'm so fucking hungry, Bill. I'm so hungry. I just never knew anybody could be so hungry.
Brenda tries to smile in a way she might charm her daddy into giving her candy. This is creepy as hell.
Would you mind handing me a piece of that possum there at your feet a little bit?
Trevor gags and run out of the barn. Trevor vomits into some bushes. Bill eyes poor Brenda.
I think we best get you to a hospital right quick. What the fuck they gonna do with her in a hospital, Bill?
Again, Brenda screams. Her body lurches forward. Why's she doing that?
Her tumors is moving.
Bill, get her to stop that shit!
It hurts.
Her body lurches forward again. She sobs.
Help me. Help.
Then again, Starla notices that Brenda's skin is starting to split and tear on her side.
Bill!
Little fuckers are tearing me apart.
Brenda screams like a woman giving 1,000 evil blows at once, and her body rips open in one part. And then, in quick succession, another and another. Bill looks out of the window. Grant is peering in at them, smiling.
He led us here.
And then Brenda's body bursts open completely, like water balloons hitting cement, and thousands of little slithering eyeless parasites with slippery black-red skin like slugs spill forth. The horrid creatures, 8 inches long and a few inches thick, swarm over the posse, completely covering them before they can react. Insane.
Great job,
Insane.
everyone.
That was a journey.
That was
a journey. I felt like
most
I was
characters
in
we've
speech
ever
class.
played. You did a great job as a narrator.
Did I?
You did.
Thank you.
And the old cop.
And you made a great Brenda.
Speech
great
class.
Starla.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Oh my God, y'all, I hated speech class growing up. All right, y'all, it's time for our final thoughts. Here at Horror Friday, we rate our films using the heat scale of Nashville hot chicken, which we just had some today. We'll be using these temperatures on a scale of 1 to 5. No spice, mild, medium, hot, and Nashville hot. Michael, go!
Oh, I give this a hot. I love this movie. I think it's a great melding of genres, subgenres of horror, body horror, creature feature, sci-fi horror, and I love it. Great performances. Yeah, that's all I got. Love it. Hot.
Mark.
I'm gonna go with a solid medium for me. Like it's obviously it's very enjoyable to watch. The actors in it are all pretty like notable people. I mean, obviously, and I think the fact that it like does capture that southern, well, if you want to say charm, I don't know if that's the best word for this movie, but southern vibes, then I feel like it does a pretty good job of doing that. So for me, it's going to be a solid medium.
I love that. It is true. It's a truly southern movie. I'll go. I want Meggy to go last since she's our guest. I'm kind of with you, Mike. I give this movie a solid medium. I do love it. I think it's great at what it is. You know, like it's I like all the effects. I like the humor. But yeah, it's hard for me to give it a hot, but I think it's a solid medium, and I really enjoy watching it. I think it's a really fun movie to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously seen it several times, so it's not like I'm never going to watch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just,
Yeah. All right, Meggy, our guest of honor. What do you give it?
I actually also give it a medium.
Okay.
And I have a reason for that. I love everybody in this movie. I think James Gunn is a phenomenal director. I love the humor. Horror humor is some of my faves. I love Michael Rooker. I love Elizabeth Banks, Nathan Fillion. Fantastic. But, like, one of my biggest fears is, like, being eaten alive and also having, like, a parasite or something foreign being put into my body. So I guess you could rate it a hot because it is getting under my skin and bothering me.
Yeah.
But, like, it's medium because, like, it really grosses me out. Like, some of these scenes are hard for me to watch because it's, like, it's really nasty. And it's, like, you think about this happening to you, and it's, like, one of the most horrible ways to die. So, in a way, it kind of is hot because it's doing its job.
Yeah.
And it's freaking you out, bothering you. But I can't watch it all the time because it is so gross. So, that's why I'm not giving it a hot because, like, it's not Scream or Jaws or Midsommar or something I would watch over and over and over. Like,
yeah.
So that's why I would give it a medium. But it is fun, and it's something to watch with friends. You know.
I think it's a great movie to watch with friends.
It's a great group watch. Yeah. Highly recommend.
Because we had a really good time watching it together last night. So, I agree. All right. Well, Meggy.
Keith.
Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here, and now, like, I'm never going to want to not be on a podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, you can come back whenever you want.
I might move here.
Open invitation.
Girl.
I love y'all.
Don't tease me with a good time. Tell everybody where they can find you on socials.
You can find me at...
Do you know?
I was like, sorry. You can find me on Instagram at ScreamQueen89.
And on YouTube.
Oh, and my YouTube is actually a little different. It's Ms. MS Scream Queen 89. And yeah, come chat with me about Scream and horror movies.
Yeah, she does a horror review every week. I think
almost every week.
Almost every week. I think you should do Slither for your next one.
I think I might.
You should. I think you should. So again, thanks for joining us, Meggy, and thank you guys for listening. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and rate the Horrified Podcast on your favorite streaming services. Links are available on our Instagram page. Now it's time to swap spit and hit the road, y'all. Until next time, remember, there's not a pot too crooked that a lid won't fit.
This bitch is hardcore.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
Wanna be ya.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye.
I never knew anyone could be so hungry.